Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up, guys? It's me, Ayo the Closer, bringing you the scoop about what's happening in the housing market and getting you confidently to the closing table. So, today I want to talk about FHA loans and the change that's coming about in 2024 when it comes to qualifying income. But first, I just want to give a quick overview of FHA loans and give you somewhat of an idea of what it takes to get approved for an FHA loan as a first time homebuyer. Now, FHA is known as a first time homebuyer loan because it is one of the most flexible or lenient loans when it comes to debt to income ratio. It requires a 3.5% down payment and at least a 580 or above credit score. Now, if you have these things, then you would be able to put down that 3.5%, which is such a benefit when it comes to purchasing a home for a first time. However, you can actually get approved for an FHA loan with a credit score of 500. Now, in order to do that, you would have to put down a bigger down payment, a 10% down payment. But if you had a credit score ranging from 500 to 579, you could get approved for an FHA loan, depending on the lender that you're working with a 10% down payment. Now, one good thing to know about having to put down 10% or more is that the mortgage insurance premium that you pay in an FHA loan automatically drops off after the 11th year when you put down 10% or more. If you don't put down that 10%, then you will pay that mortgage insurance premium for the life of the loan. And for those of you who are not familiar with mortgage insurance premium or MIP, it's basically what the lender has you to pay to offset the risk if you were to default on your loan. Now, moving forward, with FHA, you know that there's definitely going to be a lower down payment, and you're also going to be able to have a higher debt to income ratio when it comes to FHA lending. And that's why it's such a great loan for first time home buyers. FHA actually allows you to have up to 57% of debt when it comes to your back end debt to income ratio and 47% on that front end of your debt to income ratio. And now for those who are just joining in right now, that front end debt to income ratio is basically your housing expenses. That's your principal and interest, your taxes, and your escrow. That is your front end. And if you were to take those monthly expenses that you pay on the front end and divide it by your gross monthly income, that would give you your front end debt to income ratio, which cannot go above 47%. As long as you meet those requirements on the front end, theoretically, you can qualify for the loan. Now, when it comes to your debt to income ratio on the back end, you cannot exceed 57%. And what I mean by that is it would be your monthly expenses plus any other expenses that you're paying divided by your gross monthly income. If you were to take those numbers and input them in, you could not exceed 57% in order to qualify for the FHA loan. Now, those are some of the basic things when it comes to qualifying for the FHA loan. And then when you go into things like the types of income that are accepted, here are some important things for you to know. They definitely take qualifying income as a W-2 earner or hourly wage employee or a salaried employee. They also accept part-time income. They also accept income from multiple jobs, but you have to make sure that you have a 2-year history from those types of income in order for it to be included with your qualifying income. They also accept income like child support and alimony with the proper documentation. They also accept Social Security, retirement, and disability income in some instances, as well as rental income and some passive income. But it's important to note that you have to make sure that if you're using any of these types of income in order to qualify for your FHA loan, you have to show some type of longevity. And what I mean by that is you have to have at least a 2-year history of these types of income in order for a lender to accept it as qualifying income. Now, when it comes to income, again, they will also accept overtime, bonuses, and commission, but you have to show that you're receiving overtime, commissions, and bonuses for a 2-year period. So you can't just start a job, work there for 6 months, have some occasional overtime or get paid some occasional commissions or occasional bonuses and expect for the lender to accept that as qualifying income. They have to see that you are getting this income for a 2-year period. And they also can't see that your income is fluctuating. And what I mean by that is if you make a certain amount, let's say $2,000 a month, and then the next month you make $1,000 a month, and then the next month you go back up to $1,500, it really doesn't help because they want to see that you're making some steady income that is consistent and pretty much the same amount every month for a period of 2 years. So if you're going through, let's say, some layoffs here and there, or you have gaps in employment and your income is fluctuating, that's not a good thing when it comes to getting approved for an FHA loan, because the lender wants to make sure that you are bringing in a steady income and that it's something that you can depend on in order to be qualified for a mortgage. Also, when it comes to your FHA approval and income, there's something that's new that has gone into effect. And this is what I really wanted to talk about. Now, FHA will accept income from an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, in order to qualify for a loan, which is a great benefit because now it can allow you to qualify for more of a loan. Now, what is an ADU, you say? An ADU is a unit that can be attached or created within or even separate from the primary residence, but it has a separate entryway and a separate exit from the primary residence. Now, if this unit can be used for rental income, then FHA would allow 75% of that rental income to go towards your qualifying income. And this is a great thing because if you have something like an add-on or a garage conversion or something like that that meets the requirements of an ADU, which is a single inhabitable unit with a separate ingress or egress, a separate way of entering and exiting from the primary residence, then they would consider that an ADU. It would meet the standards and you could use it for qualifying income. So this is something to keep in mind, and also understand that this is something that is a fairly new change. So if you're working with a lender, you want to make sure that they're familiar with the updates and the guidelines for FHA when you go to them about being able to use this ADU, accessory dwelling unit, and the income that it brings about in order to qualify for more of a loan. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the statements and the different documentation that you're going to need when you're trying to get approved for an FHA loan. You are definitely going to have to show your W-2, your pay stubs, if you're self-employed, your 1099 and your tax returns. And they're going to want to see these things for a 2-year period because remember, it's about longevity and it's about being able to prove that you have the ability to pay and that you're bringing in the income and you have the steadiness of employment over a long period of time. If you're able to provide all of these documents and they're able to look at your credit report and you're able to meet credit guidelines and debt to income ratios, then you should have no problem theoretically being approved for an FHA loan. But it's also important to understand that every lender is different and every lender may have different stipulations that you have to meet. Even though you have met the basic guidelines, they may have some extra guidelines that you have to meet. FHA is a loan that's backed by the government, but the government is not the one in charge of approving you for the loan. The lender that you're working with is approved for a loan, is approving you for that loan. So that's why it's important for you to go ahead and make sure that you actually get in contact with at least 3 lenders so that you can compare the different fees and the different rates and guidelines and stipulations that you're going to have to meet in order to qualify for that loan. So if you found value in this video today and you're looking forward to learning more about different things that are happening in the market, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm Ayo the Closer. Peace.